To start up and on the fly mode, you go all the way to the right to the lightning bolt. And then I touched follow. That's where these functions are. I had flown the platform out to the edge of the construction site, and then I couldn't tell what it was saying here. GPS and altimeter inaccuracy may cause problems. They always could, of course. I couldn't tell if it was trying to tell me something about the platform or just the general. So I started going through like I did in the previous flight. No return to home, joystick input, altitude tracking, no. So here I am ready to start it up. Not sure what that yellow mark is on the screen either. So there it is. It went into follow me mode or follow mode and just hung a 90-degree left. Yeah, I don't know why. Might have to do with that little yellow marker on the screen. I didn't see that yellow marker until I started reviewing this video. I can't see the screen well because of the cataracts. So I took off and it seems to be following. Right now I see the bottom center says 15 feet. I think that's above where I took off, and 128 feet from where I took off. And I used the joystick to kind of take it up a little bit. You see, another 15 feet, and started walking again. Everything seems to be working fine to me. I'm not controlling anything. I'm just basically paying attention to my walking and making sure the platform is sort of following me. Bottom left, you can see the screen there. It's doing some pretty wild gyrations. I haven't found any documentation for this function anywhere to tell me if that yellow marker on the screen is part of this. I went through all the tutorials. They talk about a lot of the functions individually in great detail. There's just some missing chunks here and there. So I decided to walk it out to the front field. It's at 33 feet, I guess. And I noticed it starts to get into this tree. So I want to bring it down with the joystick. So I bring it down. Another 20 feet or so, huh? And then I start to go out the little opening in this field, and it gets into some other limbs. Now, I understand completely why what happens here happens. I try to take over with the joysticks and move it out of the tree. It's not really that much in the tree, but it's not listening to me. And that's because when it hits the tree and spins around, the gyros and the accelerometers go absolutely crazy. And it doesn't know. So it kind of got to doing a little pinballing around in the limbs up there and spinning around. And if I was trying to move it out, it was all my fault completely. You can see it's cutting limbs off right there. It didn't really damage the props that badly. It was entirely my fault. And once the gyros get to being slapped around, I finally turned off the follow mode there, which is what you should do before you try to use the joysticks if you can. So then this is just manual flying now. The follow's ready to start again. And it seems like it'll start anywhere you're at. So you can do a little follow and then move someplace else in the same flight and turn follow back on. It seems to go pretty well. I don't understand the altitude part of this. It seems like when I turn follow on, the platform always goes up without joystick input from me. As I do this more, I will get more and more aware of what's happening here. So I just manually flew it out into the front field, and I was walking up the driveway. It's just kind of sitting there waiting on me now. So I looked up to try to get me in the view. I've got some electrical wires straight ahead, and I wanted to be under them. So I kind of wanted to do this for the follow. But when I started to follow, it rotated a little bit to the left and went up to 10 feet again. Which kind of threw me. I didn't ask it to do that. So that was fine underneath the wires. So I just took off walking, and it took off following. It was near the electrical wires and the cable TV wires, and so I turned around and was just kind of going slow. And you see, it's not moving under the wires. I'm moving out of the center of its view, but it's not moving under the wires, so there's not enough input going on here. So finally, it moves under the wires to my satisfaction, and I just turn around and start walking. And it follows quite well. Forget what that screen on the bottom left is doing. It's pulsating. And it's got me, and it's got the drone in it. I guess I'm the red dot. Yeah, well, no, I'm the blue dot. The red dot is the drone. I just ran around the drone. That was pretty strange. Just mathematical calculations. So I hung a right here and started up the hill a little bit. And see, it's going to keep the same orientation to me. Looks like it's going to be 10 feet. And now it's going to back away, which is what I want to see here. I kind of got lost out the top of the picture. There is a change in elevation here. So it may have been, it technically was not at 10 feet above the terrain here, because there is a little bit of rise left to right here. Again, have to figure this all out. So now it's working well again too. I like the Google Earth image on the bottom. Those trees are no longer there that the drone seems to be backing into. They've been cut. So I decided to hang another right, go down the driveway. And this proves that the orientation is going to try to remain the same here. Maybe based on that little yellow circle that I didn't see during the flight. Can't find any documentation about it. Tried to move it around, it wouldn't move around. So I decided to put it behind me and lower it down. We're going to go up the driveway. Now the driveway is completely overcovered in limbs. So I wanted to get it down low and just go back to follow me and walk it up to the house. This was the second battery. So I lined it up for what I liked and hit follow again. And as soon as it executed, it went back up. It didn't really set up that same relationship on my left. It was more behind this time. That could be based on the direction the handheld unit's being held. The azimuth of the handheld unit. I have no idea. I suspect they're getting the GPS position from the handheld unit GPS position from the platform, and they're trying to point those two GPS positions at each other, and then any other modifiers, just the angle up and the angle right and left that you want to do as your modification to it. But the basic math there, I think, is just two GPSs basically pointing at each other. So I just dropped it down, took it out of follow. I got about 6 minutes of follow out of it, and some really, really stressful pinballing in the trees. Take it out of follow immediately, then take over the joysticks and center the joysticks when it hits a limb and spins around, because the gyros and accelerometers aren't going to be worth their snuff at that moment. So just decided to walk it up the driveway visually. So that's the end of the follow test. It went extremely well, in my humble opinion. I have no knowledge of the function. I've got to just search more and more for little documentation on this. I wonder what that yellow circle is below the follow and above the Google Earth map. I wonder why it wants to go to 10 feet. I need to play with that altitude thing. Need to learn that in some other modes, and that'll let me know what I need to do. Basically, I need knowledge at this point. I think the platform's doing well, doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just the operator doesn't know what the heck it's supposed to do. I mean, I've done follow me for years, but anyway, thank you.